We must burn our belongings. I've reached a tipping point. Me and my family have a hoarding problem. Now, whether that's because we're sentimental romantics who can't let it go, or dedicated just to disorganisation, is very much in the eye of the beholder. The room in my parents' house, the room I spent much of my teenage years in, is being converted, rethought, hollowed out to be filled in again. And in this process, I had to get rid of a ton of things, basically. And in deciding what to chuck and what to treasure, the following question kept coming up. What would you save from a burning building? It's a terrible question that confronted thousands of families.
People have been ordered to leave their homes. Many neighbourhoods have been left unrecognisable. Residents have described the firestorm as apocalyptic.
And here I'm not at all intending to trivialise that question. It's real and it's terrifying. However, the question still plagued me all the same. What also came to mind was another strange thought. If there was some freak accident whereby I was moving house, say, and all I had with me were my one or two most prized possessions, and everything else I owned was in some van going to the new home, and that van were to be lost and all of my things within it, whilst that would be devastating, I also suspect there would be some sort of relief, an unburdening, clean slate, which for some reason just gives me a lot of hope. But in a way, that feeling of being tethered to your things, that feeling of sometimes your things owning you rather than the other way around, would be gone and you could rebuild. I suppose it's a kind of minimalist instinct. As far as I can tell, there are two main problem categories of clutter: the sentimentals and the what-ifs. Sentimentals are simple, objects that have some sort of emotional connection to a place, a time of life, particular memories, a person, whatever. I recently began the process of clearing out my box of sentimentals. It included a £5 coin, calendar, DSXL, another coin, picture of a cat with glasses, a little sailing ship, Diamond Jubilee coin. Why have we got them? Don't know. 2011. Jermaine Pennant, I think, on the cover of this one. Nicholas Bentner. Kieran Richardson, forgive me, not Jermaine Pennant. I loved you, Grandma. I love you, Grandma, but I was 12. What 12-year-old boy wants a coin? Another coin. The what-ifs are the stuff you store for their potential use in the future. No, not guaranteed use. Those should obviously be kept. I find that the more ambiguous their potential, for some reason, the more difficult they are to let go. These tend to occupy more space than sentimentals. Like, lots of mine are just kind of trinkets and, bits of paper for sentimentals, but it's like a large picture frame, sizable equipment for a hobby that you just might get back into, but probably won't. A fancy cup and saucer, boxes and instruction manuals for tech that you might need to replace or fix or whatever, And in my case, rows upon rows of secondary school notes in case you get back into tutoring. But here's the pinch. Stay with me. Whilst it may seem emotionally impossible or pragmatically unwise to get rid of these things, if unchecked, this habit can leave you with a house either full of stuff from a past long gone or a future unlikely to be fulfilled. And that, in my view, is a tragedy. A forgivable and understandable tragedy, but one that you should nevertheless do your utmost to prevent. Thankfully, in this day and age, there are solutions. For the things I want to remember but don't want to keep, I make a short video just for me, just on my phone, of what I love about the item. Maybe recount some memories associated with it. Really get to the core of the emotional weight of the item, as well as detailing what it feels like. Maybe it's there's some things that you love to feel, love to be in your hands, get the aesthetics on camera, maybe what sounds it make. Some books, for example, have a particularly crisp crinkle, and that bears remembering, Here's an example of one I made. This is one of the most tasteful magnets I've ever received. This was sent by my best mate at the time, Daniel Zhang, when he moved to Shanghai. When I was about 8 or 9, I just love it. It's got this, it's kind of 3D. I like that it's got the English and the Chinese characters. It's so colourful and striking. I've got quite complex feelings about it because it represents a kind of guilt that I have about not staying in touch with him. It represents a lot of happy memories that I had with him growing up and that time in my life where he was a bit more innocent, and getting rid of this feels like saying goodbye to him, which of course it isn't. I already said goodbye a long time ago, but a difficult object to get rid of, but I've got no reason to keep it. My fridge isn't even magnetic. It'd just be sat somewhere. It's not at all lost to me that this is almost a trivially simple solution. Possibly even one that lacks creativity. If I'm being honest, I think you could level that against this idea. And I don't know whether everyone's already doing it and no one mentions it or what, I don't know. But all I can say is that for me, it's the perfect middle ground for remembering the things I know I want to get rid of and feeling as though that weight of having gotten rid of it has been lifted. I hope that's the same for you. If you do this for everything in your house regularly enough, it should mean that if ever you're confronted, God forbid, with that flaming question of what you saved from a burning building, most of your non-functional, sentimental stuff should at the very least be in contention. Saying goodbye is difficult. It can feel like getting rid of a part of who you are, a part of what you call home. I think getting rid for good requires that you confront certain fundamental truths. Nothing lasts forever, nothing stays the same. And I think confronting that gives you more urgency and gives you more courage. Also I hope. This video is my pitch to solve type 1 clutter, the sentimentals. With type 2, I think you just have to be ruthless and realistic and exercise more, I think. Orderly defences. I read recently that one method of forest management is to have controlled fire. It's also known as prescribed burning, which is where contained fires are lit to prevent the accumulation of lots of dry matter. This supposedly helps to reduce the likelihood of spontaneous wildfires getting seriously out of control. And just how we must burn small fires below trees to prevent the forest coming down, so too must we burn parts of our homes to prevent the house coming down.
We did what we could.